In this video, you will learn English in a different way, not from a textbook, but from a real-life story. We will follow the life of Donald Trump, a very famous man from the United States, and we will use his story to practice simple English. Listen slowly, relax, and let the story help you enjoy English more and more. If you stay to the end, you will not only know more about his life, but you will also get useful sentences that you can use in your own life. You do not need to write anything down. You can just listen with your ears and heart and let the language flow through you. If you like, you can listen while you sit on a bus, clean your room, or drink a cup of tea, so English becomes a natural part of your day. In this way, English practice can feel less like homework and more like quiet time with a story and a friendly voice. Welcome to English 1314, a place where you can learn English with simple stories and friendly guidance. In this video, we will tell the life story of Donald Trump in clear and easy English, made for A2 learners like you. You do not need a high level to understand because the sentences are short, the words are familiar, and the ideas are explained step by step. You can listen first, and then you can listen again and repeat after the speaker, like an echo, to practice shadowing. When you shadow, you copy the voice, the rhythm, and the speed, and slowly your mouth and brain become more confident with English sounds. Today, we will start with his childhood and family, then talk about his business life, and later about how he became President of the United States. Our goal is not to talk about politics or to say he is good or bad. Our goal is to give you a real, interesting story so you can train your ears, learn some new words, and feel less afraid of English. Take a deep breath, get comfortable, and imagine that this story is like a movie in your mind, but the language is simple and kind to you. If you want, you can turn on English subtitles and read while you listen. But try not to stop the video too often. Let the sound continue, even if you do not catch every single word, because your brain can learn in the background. With each minute of listening, you are building a small habit. And small habits lead to big change over time. Many learners stop because they want fast results, but real progress usually comes from doing easy actions again and again, not from one very difficult lesson. This video is one of those easy actions, and you can be proud of yourself for pressing play and staying with the story. Donald Trump was born in New York City in 1946 in a place called Queens, which is a busy and mixed area with many families and small streets. His family was not poor, and his father, Fred Trump, was a businessman who built houses and apartments for people. Little Donald grew up in a big house with brothers and sisters, so the home was often full of noise, talk, and strong opinions. At family dinners, many voices spoke at the same time, and everyone tried to share their idea or story from the day. From a young age, he was very active, full of energy, and sometimes he could be a bit wild, which made school and home life a little difficult. Teachers sometimes found it hard to control him in class because he liked to talk, move, and joke when others were quiet. His parents wanted discipline and good behavior, so they sent him to a special school called a military academy, where students had to follow rules, wear uniforms, and wake up early every day. At this school, Donald learned about leadership, order, and competition, and he also enjoyed the feeling of being strong and important when he did well. He learned to march in a line, to respect timing, and to listen to commands, and these habits stayed with him later. He did not always follow every rule perfectly, but he liked to stand out and be noticed, even as a teenager. In his free time, he liked sports and liked to be the winner in games, which gave him a strong desire to succeed. When he lost, he often felt angry or disappointed, and this emotion pushed him to try harder the next time. He saw his father working in real estate, visiting building sites, talking with workers, and planning new projects, and these images stayed in his young mind. Sometimes he rode in the car with his father to look at new land or old buildings that could be changed into something better. When he went with his father to look at new houses, he saw that buildings could bring money, respect, and power, and he began to dream about a big life in business. Little by little, his world was shaped by the idea that success means being bigger, louder, and more visible than other people. This idea started in his childhood, inside that family in Queens, and it later became a big part of how he acted in public life. His early years were not perfect or calm, but they gave him a strong personality and a clear picture of what he wanted in the future. Later, when it was time to choose a subject for higher education, he decided to study business because it was the language of his home and his daily life. While some young people dream of art or science, he dreamed of tall buildings, office meetings, and large contracts, and this dream came directly from the family world he saw every day. After school, Donald Trump went to college and later joined his father's business, which focused on apartments and houses in New York. He did not want to stay small or quiet. He wanted to make something bigger, something that people in the whole city would see and remember. He began to work on large buildings in Manhattan, the heart of New York City, where tall glass towers and famous hotels touch the sky. One of his early big projects was the Grand Hyatt Hotel, and later he became known for Trump Tower, a shiny building with gold-colored decoration and luxury apartments and offices. These buildings were not just places to live or work. They were a message that said, "Look at me, I am successful, I have power, and I am different." His name, Trump, started to appear on many things, such as towers, casinos, golf courses, and even bottles of water and other products, because he wanted his name to be a brand. To build these projects, he had to talk with banks, city leaders, lawyers, and many different people, and he needed to be strong in negotiation. His style in business was very direct. He liked to make big deals, talk in a strong way, and show confidence, even when the situation was difficult. He often used words like great, huge, and amazing when he talked about his plans, because he believed positive words could create a positive feeling. Sometimes his projects made a lot of money and brought him fame, but sometimes they had problems, heavy debt, and even bankruptcy. Bankruptcy means a company cannot pay its money back, and many people thought this was the end for him. In cities like Atlantic City, his casinos and hotels first looked bright and full of life. but later they met money problems and had to close or change owners. However, Donald Trump used these failures as a way to start again, making new deals, negotiating with banks, and telling the public that he was still a winner. He wrote books about success, gave many interviews, and presented himself as a symbol of wealth and power. He understood that in modern media, the story is often more important than the numbers, so he focused on controlling the story about himself. This skill became very important when he went into television. In 2004, he became the host of a TV show called The Apprentice, where people competed to work with him in business. On this show, he sat in a big chair in a large boardroom, listened to the candidates, and made decisions about their work. Each week, the candidates tried to do different business tasks, like selling a product, making an advertisement, or managing a team. At the end of each episode, he looked at the weakest person and said a very famous line, "You are fired." This short sentence became a popular phrase all around the world, and many people who never met him in real life started to feel they knew his personality. On television, he was strong, direct, and sometimes harsh, but also exciting and entertaining. And many viewers enjoyed watching his style. For Donald Trump, the TV show was not only a job, it was a powerful stage, a place where he could build his public image every week in front of millions of eyes. His face, his voice, and his way of speaking became deeply familiar to many people. And this level of fame later helped him when he wanted to move from business and entertainment into politics. The show also taught him how to speak to the camera, how to use pauses for effect, and how to repeat simple phrases so that people remember them. All these skills are very useful when someone wants to influence public opinion or lead a large group. Outside the show, his daily life was full of meetings, phone calls, and travel. He often moved from one city to another to check on his properties, talk to partners, and look for new chances to grow his brand. He liked to appear in magazines and at important events, and each appearance helped to keep his name in the news and in people's minds. Business life did not only mean numbers and contracts, it also meant stress, late nights, and many decisions. He had to sign papers, check reports, and listen to good and bad news every day. Sometimes deals failed, and people were angry or disappointed. Sometimes a new idea worked very well and opened doors to even bigger projects. Through these ups and downs, he learned that money can come and go, but the ability to keep trying and to stay visible was his main strength. As Donald Trump became more famous on television and in business, he also started to talk more about the problems he saw in his country. For many years, he gave interviews, called television shows, and shared his ideas about money, trade, and national strength. Some people agreed strongly with his words, and others disagreed. But in both cases, they listened because his style was clear, simple, and direct. He often used short sentences, strong adjectives, and simple slogans that were easy to remember, which is very important in modern media and public life. In 2015, he surprised many people when he announced that he wanted to run for President of the United States. At first, many experts and reporters did not think he could win, because he did not have the same political experience as other candidates, and his way of speaking was very different from traditional politicians. However, he knew how to use television, rallies, and social media to reach people directly. Without always using the usual political channels, a rally is a large meeting where people come together to listen to a leader speak, hold signs, and cheer, and his rallies often had thousands of people. His campaign messages were focused on ideas like changing old systems, protecting national interests, and making the country strong in a new way. Large crowds came to his events, and many supporters liked that he spoke in words they could understand, not in complicated political language. He used simple phrases many times, so that even people who watched only a short part of the news could remember his main ideas. In the United States, people vote for president in a national election, and each state has a certain number of votes in a system called the Electoral College. During the election season, candidates travel from state to state, speak at events, meet local leaders, and ask people to support them on voting day. After a long and intense election season, he won the election in 2016 and became the 45th President of the United States in January 2017. For many people, this result was shocking, and it created strong emotions, both positive and negative, across the country and around the world. As president, he had to make decisions about many subjects, such as the economy, immigration, and international relations, and his time in office was full of debate, news stories, and public discussion. He met with other world leaders, signed documents, spoke at important events, and used social media to share his thoughts very quickly. Some people felt he brought a new voice to politics, while others felt worried or unhappy about his style and choices. What is important for our English lesson is not to judge these choices, but to notice how his strong communication style and his long experience with media helped him reach such a high position. The story shows that a person can move from business to television and then to the highest office in a country, which is an unusual and powerful journey. It also shows that in modern life, media, image, and simple language can open doors that once seemed closed to people without traditional political backgrounds. For an English learner, this part of the story is a reminder that language and communication are powerful tools that can change a person's path in surprising ways. When we look at Donald Trump's life story, we can find several simple lessons that can help us in our own lives and in our English learning. The first lesson is about confidence. From a young age, he liked to stand out and to show his ideas, even when other people did not agree. For your English, this means you can try to speak even when you are afraid of mistakes. A useful sentence you can remember is, "I will try my best even if I am not perfect." You can repeat this line softly to yourself before you speak in English, and it can give you more courage. You can also say, "It is okay, I am learning," when you feel shy, so that you do not stop yourself too quickly. The second lesson is about persistence, which means not giving up when life is hard. In business, Donald Trump had times of success and times of big financial trouble, including heavy debt and bankruptcy. Many people might stop after such problems, but he continued to look for new deals and new chances. For you as a learner, this means that if you fail a test or forget a new word, it is not the end. You can say, I can learn from my mistakes and try again tomorrow. Another helpful sentence is, one bad day does not mean a bad future, which reminds you that progress is not always a straight line. The third lesson is about using your strong points. He knew that he was good at speaking in a strong, direct way and at getting media attention. So he used those skills in business, television, and politics. You can ask yourself, what is my strong point in English? Maybe you have a good ear for sound. Maybe you like reading stories. Or maybe you are good at memorizing phrases. When you know your strong point, you can use it more and feel progress faster. For example, if you love stories, you can listen to one short English story every night before bed. If you like writing, you can write a few sentences every morning about your day. The fourth lesson is about simple language. In many speeches, he used short and repeated phrases because simple words can be very powerful. For example, in your daily life, you do not need very long sentences to be clear. You can say, I do not understand. Please say it again. Or, can you speak more slowly? Please. These short sentences are easy to remember, and they can help you in many situations. You can practice them now by saying them out loud 3 times, slowly and clearly. The fifth lesson is that your story is still being written. Donald Trump's life had many chapters, including childhood, business, television, and politics. And each chapter changed his path. Your life also has many chapters, and learning English is one of them. You can choose to write this chapter with patience, small daily steps, and a kind voice in your mind, not a harsh one. When you feel tired, you can take a short break, smile, and then say, I am still learning. And that is okay. In this way, you use language not only to speak to others, but also to support yourself inside. If you do this, English becomes not just a school subject, but a friend that helps you connect with the world and with your future dreams. A sixth lesson is about image and media. Donald Trump carefully used television, newspapers, and later social media to share the picture of himself that he wanted people to see. For an English learner, this can inspire you to use media in a positive way too. You can follow simple English channels, listen to short podcasts, or read easy posts so that your phone becomes a tool for learning, not only for games or stress. A short sentence you can repeat is, I choose media that helps me grow, which reminds you that you can control what you watch and listen to each day. We can also learn something from the way he prepared his messages. Before a big speech or interview, he often thought about a few main lines that he wanted people to remember. As an English learner, you can do the same when you prepare to speak. Before a meeting or a call, you can choose 2 or 3 simple sentences and practice them many times. For example, you can prepare, Today I want to talk about my work. Or, I have one question about this project. When you practice these lines at home, they will come out more easily when you need them in real life. This small habit can make you feel much stronger and calmer in communication. Now it is your turn to practice and make this story part of your English. First, choose one small part of this video, maybe 4 or 5 sentences that you like from the story or from the life lessons. Listen to that part again and again, and try to shadow it, which means you speak at the same time as the voice, like an echo. Do not worry if you cannot follow perfectly at first. With each repeat, your tongue and your brain will move a little faster and a little smoother. Second, write one simple sentence in English in the comments, using an idea from this story. You can answer a question like, "What is one lesson you learn from Donald Trump's story?" or "Which part of his journey is most interesting to you?" Keep your sentence short and clear, and remember that this is a safe place to practice, not a test. If you see other comments, you can read them and maybe reply with one kind sentence, like, "Good job, keep going," so we all feel supported. Third, if this way of learning feels good for you, subscribe to English 1314 and watch the next videos in this series about other famous people. You can make a small plan. For example, listen to one story every day for 30 days and repeat the parts you like the most. You can also keep a simple notebook where you write down 1 or 2 sentences from each video that you enjoy, so you can read them again later. Step by step, day by day, your ear will get used to English sounds and your mouth will feel more natural when you speak. Remember that language learning is like building a tall building. First, you make a strong base. Then you add floor after floor, slowly and carefully. Your base is simple listening and easy sentences, like in this story. Later, when you are ready, you can add more difficult grammar and longer words, but you never lose the strong base you are building now. Thank you for learning with us today, and remember, you are not alone, and every small practice brings you closer to the English you dream of. When you finish this video, take one deep breath, smile, and say to yourself, "I took one more step today, and that is already a success." Then, when you are ready, you can move to the next story and continue your English journey with us.